with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to, I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone, and it just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Just as fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Greetings and welcome to our One Church, One School Black History Moment. Knowing and appreciating our Black heritage is foundational to One Church, One School teaching the value of life and learning. Our hope is that students will gain new information about the Black experience and, most importantly, be motivated and inspired to excel as so many of our known and unsung heroes have done. To our parents, educators, civic and faith leaders, please help guide our students in understanding a common outcome from these experiences has been activism to right the wrongs and injustices done to Black people and other people of color. Noteworthy is that students have often been at the forefront of this activism. That is why today, as we face the challenges associated with the reopening of schools in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic that has brought sickness and death to a disproportionate number of Black people, let us be as vigilant as our ancestors were in the pandemics of racism and discrimination to ensure that school buildings are safe and remain safe, and that the quality of remote learning is raised to a level of excellence to guarantee equity in education for all our students. Thanks again to our One Church, One School leadership and production team. Reverend Paris Lester, Reverend Leon Parker, Mrs. Kelly Williamson Key, Ms. Adrena Edwards, and Minister Cameron Kirkendall. From the words of Lift Every Voice and Sing, let us sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Let us sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Greetings, it's Black History Month, and we know that there are great, great men and women who have contributed so much. I'm holding one of the oldest Black history books in the world, the Bible, because the people in this book, 3/4 of it are men and women of color, and especially our Savior, Jesus the Christ. Here's what the Word of God says in Matthew 2nd chapter and the 14th verse. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which had been spoken by the Lord through the prophets, saying, out of Egypt I called my son. Out of Africa. Jesus was a man of color. And of course, Africa is the greatest continent, largest, and there we discovered the 3 great religions of the world, the Jewish faith, as well as the Christian faith, as well as the Islamic faith. So here comes out of Africa our Black history that we all need to know. Our people who do not know their history are doomed to fail and repeat the mistakes of the past. So Black history is so necessary for our children and our churches, that we might know who we are, and there's nothing we cannot achieve. Out of Africa, the pyramids, medicine, and African men and women sailed to America hundreds of years before Columbus got lost. The pyramids were built. You must understand what God has put in us. And from the black man has come the brown, the red, the yellow, and the white. We must understand that they've omitted our history, but thank you, God, that even in America, for 401 years, we have succeeded against the odds. Our churches have been salvation, education, liberation. Out of our black churches have come our scientists, our insurance companies, our hospitals, our doctors, nurses, and lawyers. We thank God that we have succeeded in all arenas, athletics, and the arts. We are so grateful that one of the leading black pictures in the last 2 years has been the Black Panther. But just know that it is no secret what God can do. What he's done for others, he'll do for you. Know your black history from Lerone Bennett to John Hope Franklin. Know your black history and understand and appreciate all that God, through and with you, is able to do.
You ready, Sam?
Yeah.
We tell everybody what they can be when they grow up. They can be anything. You ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
You can be an A. You can be an architect. Sketch a building to kiss the sky. You can be a B. You can be a biochemist. Make medicine save lives. You can be a C. Computer or software developer with programs and systems and files. You can be a D. You can be a dentist. Cause everybody loves to smile. You can be an E. You can be an engineer. Solve problems of all kinds. Chemical, mechanical, electrical. Use the power of your mind. You can be an F. You can be a firefighter. Fight fires in red trucks. You can be a G. Gastroenterologist. Deal with problems in the gut. You can be an H. Hospital administrator. Hospitals need leaders. You can be an I. Intelligence officer. The FBI kind of people. You can be a J. You can be a judge. Help people who seek justice. You can be a K. Kindergarten teacher. Those kids are young and restless. You can be an L. You can be a lawyer. Cause people need to know their rights. You can be an M. Mobile app developer. Like the people that made Fortnite. You can be an N. You can be a nurse. Medical care for the masses. You can be an O. Optometrist. For people that need eyeglasses. You can be a P. Paramedic. For medical emergencies. You can be a Q. Quantum physicist. Of particles and energy. You can be an R. Researcher. Find cures for disease. You can be an S. Stockbroker. You get to work with money. You can be a T. Truck mechanic. Trucks are critical transportation. You can be a U. University president. Motor feature of your nation. You can be a V. Video game designer. With Xboxes and PlayStations. You can be a W. Web developer. It's an online occupation. Now take that X. You can be your own mark, make an impact on the world. And with that Y, you can be your own boss. Tell me boy and girl. And with that Z, Z is you strive. You can reach the sky if you try. Just don't be a Z. Just don't be a zombie. And let the world pass you by.
Way to go, Sam!
This is our story.
The black church has sustained the African American people from the days of slavery to this day.
I don't know how we could have survived as a people without it.
The role of music in the black church is everything.
We had to have some individual and institutional armor in order to preserve our sanity.
We are a testament to the goodness and the grace of God.
The Black Church. Tune in or stream Tuesday, February 16th at 9, 8 Central, only on PBS.
The daughter of former slaves, Mary Jane McLeod Bethune became one of the most important black educators, civil and women's rights leaders, and government officials of the 20th century. The college she founded set educational standards for today's black colleges, and her role as an advisor to President Franklin Roosevelt gave African Americans an advocate in government.
Edmond Gordon, EDD, has seen America's black community undergo significant changes in his lifetime, from the civil rights movement to the inauguration of a black president. His long career as a psychologist weaves in and out of that history, with appointments at numerous universities, groundbreaking research into how education shapes minds, and his role in 1965 as a founder of the federal Head Start program, which provides education, nutrition, and healthcare assistance to children living in poverty.
Dr. Barbara Sizemore was among the first African American women to serve as a principal of a Chicago school in 1963. 6 short years later, she was the first African American woman elected superintendent of a major city school system. When Dr. Sizemore accepted a position at the University of Pittsburgh, she studied schools in low-income, high-crime areas whose students were predominantly African American. She incorporated her findings into an innovative educational strategy called School Achievement Structure, which she championed as Dean of DePaul University School of Education from 1992 to 1998. Schools that followed her routines had tremendous success, raising their students' test scores and increasing their chances for success in systems that often worked against them. Dr. Sizemore was a member of the board of directors of the Journal of Negro Education, as well as a member of the National Alliance of Black School Educators. As a prolific writer, she passionately pushed for student empowerment. Dr. Sizemore was a dedicated educator and an educational theorist who applied the expertise she acquired at premier institutions to work on behalf of disadvantaged students. She's received numerous awards and well-deserved honors recognizing her contribution to educational theory.
Rita Pearson, a professional educator since 1972, taught elementary school, junior high, and special education. She was a counselor, a testing coordinator, and an assistant principal. In each of these roles, she brought a special energy to the role, a desire to get to know her students, show them how much they matter, and support them in their growth, even if it was modest. For the past decade, Pearson conducted professional development workshops and seminars for thousands of educators, focusing on the students who are often underserved. She lectured on topics like helping under-resourced learners, meeting the educational needs of African American boys, and engage and graduate your secondary students, preventing dropouts. She states, parents make decisions for their children based on what they know, what they feel will make them safe. And it is not our place as educators to say what they do is wrong. It is our place to say maybe we can add a set of rules that they don't know about. Ms. Pearson passed away in June of 2013.
Dr. Percy LaVon Julian, a steroid chemist and an entrepreneur, Percy Julian ingeniously figured out how to synthesize important medicinal compounds from abundant plant sources, making them more affordable to mass produce. We know them as cortisone and hydrocortisone.
Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett was one of the leading scientists at the National Institutes of Health, searching for a SARS-CoV-2 vaccine. Throughout the coronavirus pandemic, Black communities have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. Dr. Corbett is a part of the research team that worked with Moderna, the pharmaceutical company that developed one of the leading vaccines, shown to be more than 90% effective. Dr. Corbett made sure she stepped from behind the microscope and into the spotlight to show us that a person who looks like us was on the front lines fighting the virus. She also wanted to be visible so people knew she stood by the work she had done for so long. Dr. Corbett's participation in the vaccine research marked an important step forward for young scientists and people of color. Her contributions are invaluable, and she will go down in history as one of the key players in developing the science that could end the pandemic.
Channing Dungey is an American television executive who in 2016 became the first African American president of ABC Entertainment Group. This also makes her the first Black president of a major broadcast TV network. Previously, Dungey worked as ABC's head of drama and oversaw the development of ABC studio shows such as Scandal, Criminal Minds, How to Get Away with Murder, Quantico, Army Wives, and Once Upon a Time.
Black Panther has done something most of the mega hits didn't. It reshaped the world beyond the multiplex. Coogler's rendered the film's setting, the fictional nation of Wakanda, a technologically advanced African country, untouched by colonialism, so vividly that it became a kind of culture shorthand, a vision of a future where Black excellence is honored instead of minimized. When the Wakandans ventured out into the world, their red, green, and Black clothing, the colors of the Pan-African flag, stand out in a sea of muted suits. When audience first saw Wakanda, the light seemed to dazzle for a reason. It's an inspirational vision of the world.
Willie O'Ree was born on October 15, 1935 in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. O'Ree had made history on January 18, 1958, when he became the first Black hockey player to play a game in the National Hockey League. By the way, the Bruins beat the Montreal Canadiens that night 3-0. By the way, how many Black players have won the Stanley Cup? 5 of them belong to Black players. Goaltenders Grant Furr and Eldon Pokey Reddick from the Edmonton Oilers won 5 championships in the 1980s and the 1990s. Goalie Ray Emery and defenseman Johnny Oduya and Dustin Byfuglien from the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup in 2013 and 2015.
Malcolm Subban, unlike his big brother, NHL defenseman PK, opted to be a goalie. The Toronto native was selected by the Boston Bruins in the first round in the 2012 NHL draft and turned pro in 2013, spending the first of 4 seasons with Providence of the American Hockey League. With his current team, the Chicago Blackhawks, he currently has a 91% save average.
Althea Gibson developed a love of tennis at an early age, but in the 1940s and 50s, most tournaments were closed to African Americans. Gibson kept playing until her skills could no longer be denied, and in 1951, she became the first African American to play at Wimbledon. Gibson won the women's singles and doubles at Wimbledon in 1957 and won the U.S. Open in 1958. On September 28, 2003, Gibson died of respiratory failure in East Orange, New Jersey.
Serena Williams, American tennis player who revolutionized women's tennis with her powerful style of play and who won more Grand Slam singles titles, 23, than any other woman or man during the Open era.
Willie O'Ree was born on October 15. For 3 key years, 1963 through 1966, Douglas was president of the Montgomery Improvement Association, where he helped plan and pull off King's historic Selma to Montgomery March for voting rights. And for more than 30 years, Douglas was on the national board of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the civil rights group King formed in the late 1950s. King, Douglas remembers, was down to earth, calm but passionate, loved to stop and talk with children, and wouldn't let ever-present threats diminish his sense of humor. Plus, Douglas adds with a smile, King was a lover of gospel music and would summon Jesse, a singing preacher, to stand up during church rallies and perform his favorite spiritual, I told Jesus it would be all right if he changed my name. His own complexion is so light that some Alabamans mistook Douglas for a white person, including one in Albany, Alabama, he remembers, who spat on him for being a white sympathizer of black causes. But they recall him with fondness and say King relied on Douglas to get things done and rally the troops with his singing. Dr. King had a great deal of faith in him. He would say Jesse was taking care of this and Jesse was taking care of that, Lewis said, and he could lead a song creating a real sense of solidarity. Reverend Jesse L. Douglas recently passed away in February of 2021.
Stacey Abrams is a political leader, voting rights activist, and New York Times best-selling author. After serving for 11 years in the Georgia House of Representatives and 7 as Democratic leader, in 2018, Abrams became the Democratic nominee for the governor of Georgia, winning at the time more votes than any other Democrat in the state's history. Also, Abrams was the first black woman to become the gubernatorial nominee for a major party in the United States, and she was the first black woman and first Georgian to deliver a response to the State of the Union. Currently, Abrams, along with others, are working tirelessly to register every Georgian to vote. These organizations in Georgia have helped to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House in the 2020 U.S. presidential election, as well as Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff to the United States Senate.
Kamala D. Harris is the Vice President of the United States of America. She was elected Vice President after a lifetime of public service, having been elected District Attorney of San Francisco, California Attorney General, and United States Senator. Vice President Harris was born in Oakland, California, to parents who immigrated from India and Jamaica. She graduated from Howard University and the University of California, Hastings College of Law.
John Lewis grew up in an era of racial segregation. Inspired by Martin Luther King Jr., he joined the burgeoning civil rights movement. Lewis was a freedom rider. He spoke at the March on Washington, and he led the demonstration that became known as Bloody Sunday. He was elected to Congress in 1986, representing Georgia's 5th District, and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama in 2011. Since entering office, he has called for healthcare reform measures to fight poverty and improvements in education. John Lewis passed in July of 2020.
While studying at the University of Chicago and Northwestern University, Johnson worked for a life insurance company that marketed to African American customers. There he conceived the idea of a black magazine. In 1942, he began publication of the Negro Digest. Its first issue sold some 3,000 copies, and within a year, the monthly circulation was about 50,000. From that beginning, Johnson launched Ebony, a general interest magazine catering to an African American audience, in 1945. Ebony's initial press run of about 25,000 copies were completely sold out. And by the early 21st century, it had a circulation of some 1.7 million. Johnson passed away in August of 2005.
Ursula M. Burns is the first Black American woman to hit a Fortune 500 company and was rated the 22nd most powerful woman in the world in 2014 by Forbes magazine. From 2010 to 2016, she was the CEO of Xerox, where she significantly expanded the reach and value of a company that in its humble beginnings was only known for paper copies. She ensured Xerox was a formidable competitor in the global online marketplace by expanding its products and services and continually delighting more than 240 million customers. Ultimately, Xerox split into two public companies, one of them being the new Xerox, where Ms. Burns became the chairwoman. Ursula Burns was named chairwoman of Vion in 2017. She's a member of the board of directors for Uber. She's also a founding member of Change the Equation, a CEO-led nonprofit program to boost STEM education launched by the Obama administration in 2010. Ursula Burns has created a legacy of excellence and continues to move us forward.
Sheila Crump Johnson, born January 25, 1949, is an American businesswoman, co-founder of BET, CEO of Salamander Hotels and Resorts, and the first Black American female billionaire.
Jasmine Crowe is one of the new Black female entrepreneurs on the scene. With over $1.1 million raised, she believed that everyone should eat. She founded Gooder, a company that aims to reduce food waste by leveraging technology. Using their logistics, analytics, and security, businesses can donate extra food to nonprofit organizations and earn tax deductions in the process. The platform, enabled by the blockchain, benefits hungry people, the donor businesses, and their environment. Jasmine Crowe was also featured on our list of 50 female entrepreneurs everyone should know.
Chris Bennett is the CEO and co-founder of SOCI. The total funding so far is $5 million. The additional investors include First Round Capital, Great Oaks Venture Capital, and Uncorked Capital. Chris founded SOCI to make it easy for small businesses to monetize their Facebook pages. Customers provide their payment information to SOCI, after which they can buy products by merely commenting on the store's pages. For the sellers, SOCI includes a full administrative dashboard to help them manage their inventory and user comments.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory.
heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh.